Hello and welcome to this video about changing the passwords for the built-in users of webMethods integration server with a WxPassword package. So what are we talking about today? In a nutshell, it is how you can easily secure a fresh installation of integration server. Because it comes with a number of built-in users and those have or used to have default passwords. I used to have because in recent versions you can provide a custom password during installation. However, in my view, this is still very relevant today for a number of reasons. First, some organizations still run older versions of integration server where you cannot change the credentials during installation. Second, many people will likely just provide the default passwords. Third, there are scenarios where it makes sense to start with the default passwords and change them later. And lastly, there are situations where the passwords must be updated after the initial installation, irrespective of whether a default password was specified or not. So why is it necessary to automate the change of these passwords? Probably the simplest reason is the risk that it gets forgotten, and we all know how reliable manual work is. Then, if the change is done manually, there's a window of vulnerability between when the system becomes accessible and when the change is done. Yes, you can argue that it's not huge and could also be mitigated by other means like a firewall. But such an approach is certainly much more complicated, so you're not really gaining anything. A pretty big reason these days is the number of instances. When you look at a decent CI/CD pipeline, there will be at least dozens of server instances that are created, run for a while, and are be brought down again. And while they may not be the most valuable target for an attacker, it is a vector that could be used to gain additional knowledge. And of course, there are container orchestration platforms like Kubernetes, OpenShift, etc. And those are production systems, and that is very, very relevant. Conceptually interesting is the fourth reason that I want to mention here, and that is if there is another system that is actually the leading system for credentials. Systems like HashiCorp Vault have become relatively common in recent years, especially in the context of infrastructure as code. And last on my list, but certainly not least, is compliance. There are probably more scenarios, but those should already be enough to convince you that automation of password change is an important topic. So let's see how WxPassword does the job. As usual, a quick overview over the demo steps you will see in a few seconds. The demo will allow you to get started with WxPassword quickly and secure your installation. As a foreword, let me say that conceptually what you will see now is exactly what you need to do on a production-grade system. So in that sense, it's a bit more than your typical demo. And here are the steps. You might be surprised that the first step is to shut down integration server. This is to make the demo as realistic as possible because it's the state in which the system is after the installation. We will then install the package via a file copy operation and not via the web UI. This is how you would do it when building a container image, or also when you're using a general purpose infrastructure automation solution like Ansible, Chef, Puppet, etc. The only step left now, before we can start integration server again, is to define two environment variables on the operating system. One for the new administrator password and one to actually enable WxPassword. The latter is a safety measure because otherwise it would be very easy for you to lock yourself out of your own system. And by the way, you can make a guess why I have added this feature. And last, we will restart integration server and see what's happened. I'm now on my demo system, and the first step is to download and install the WxPassword package. As usual, the links to the GitHub project and the download of the package zip file are available in the video description below. So I choose the latest release. And when I get the demo package, I will download the installable zip file directly into the correct directory for installing it. For a normal installation via the web UI of Integration Server, this directory would be Integration Server Home replicate inbound, as we can see here. But since I want to extract the package directly into the file system, this time I will choose a different target directory. And the correct directory for me in this case is the packages directory. So let's save the package here. And then I move over. And extract the package contents. With that, the actual installation is done, and I can now proceed to the next step, which is setting up the 2 environment variables that we need. To get the exact environment variables, I look at the main page of the project. And I can see here, this is the one that I need to use to enable WxPassword. And then here, the one for the administrator. So let me copy this, and then I open a command prompt and go into the bin directory from where I will in a second start Integration Server. But first, I will set the environment variables. And you can see that I'll choose a highly secure password for the administrator. And then let's start. And we now see that WxPassword package has worked, and that a directory has been created here. And for the 2 built-in users that we have not specified, which is replicator and developer, a random password has been written into this directory. So let's quickly check. And here we have the 2 files that have been created. And we can see that this is the password for the user developer. And this for replicator. And by the way, if you enable WxPassword and do not specify an administrator password, this is exactly the same approach that is being taken. And we would then have our administrator password in this file. So as long as you have file system access, you will still be able to get back in, but obviously still a little bit safer to only start the processing if this additional environment variable has been specified. Let's now check if our new password works. I have saved manage, the default password, in my web browser, and we can see that it doesn't work. And if I enter ABC, I'm in. So that's the confirmation that everything has worked as we wanted it. And that's it for today. Thanks very much. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you don't want to miss any new videos, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you very much and have a great day.